for me, it was amazing because it's this idea of how it can be inaccessible, our in a sense, nature, I think, at least in the UK, is often something that is reserved or has been in the culture. And I'm not saying it's the truth, but structurally, small white middle class kind of access, I'd say. So I really appreciate being able to be there intentionally with people that want to reclaim it. And I think that's what Pics of Color was for me. And understanding that I too belong here. We all belong here. The land is ours. It doesn't belong to it shouldn't belong to anyone in particular. It's true that in capitalism it does belong to certain people, but let let's not get me ranting about capitalism because we'll be here for 3 hours.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Earth Sea Love podcast. This podcast is for and about women of colour and our relationship with nature. Hosted by me, Cherie Mack. The Earth Sea Love podcast is committed to exploring the experiences of women of colour with Mother Nature. We want to provide spaces where the hidden voices in the environmental and conservation conversations can explore their relationship with the natural world. Inspired by our time spent outdoors, we amplify the voices of women of colour, our stories, our conversations, interviews, photography, writing, and artwork. We'll be exploring our legacies, histories, and memories which have had an influence and effect upon how we perceive ourselves within the natural world and within the environmental and climate justice movements. The Earth Sea Love podcast is a space for women, feminine, and non-binary people who are Black, Indigenous, people of colour to explore their relationship with nature. Thank you. Oh, hell man, I'm just gonna record it. I've tried a number of times to record and I'm just going with this one. You know when you're trying to get it perfect or eliminate all background noise and it's just not happening. So this is what is happening. This is what's going out. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening in from. Welcome. Welcome to the Earth Sea Love podcast. And thanks for coming back to us because it's been a hot minute since we've been around. And what can I say? No apologies, no explanations, just we are here, we are back. We took our hibernation time over the winter and it just extended a little bit into spring, But yeah, we're here now and thank you again for being with us. And this is our first episode back for our coming season. And I am so happy to share our first episode with Nabila Cruz, who is a PhD student over in Sheffield, but also an avid zinester. And we met in September, I think, last year, and it was at the over here Over Here Zine Festival, which is a zine festival that happens in Manchester for global majority people, Black, Asian, minoritized, people of colour, and it's a space where we take up space with our zines, and it's such a lovely coming together event. And while I've got your attention, let me just say that the Over Here Zine Festival is actually collaborating with our very own Dal Kula, who's the next episode that we'll be putting out. Dal Kula and Migration Matters to actually bring a mini pop-up zine fest to Sheffield. And that is happening on Saturday, the 28th of June from 11 a.m. to I think 4 p.m. and it's at Soft Ground in Sheffield. And I'll put the link in the show notes because it's happening, and we are so pleased to be able to share the word about Over Here Zine Fest popping up in Sheffield. And it's all going to be about food. We've got Food at Home Zine Fest. So yeah, I'll put the link in the show program notes. But as I was saying, Nabila, we had such a good conversation. And let me say we did. I mean, Nabila is Brazilian, Italian with an Arabic name, born and brought up in the UK, but also has had that experience of maybe feeling unwelcome in nature, all about taking up space in nature, creating zines around nature, and also the PhD. The PhD is around AI developments and how AI affects trust in the news, in the media. So it was such a lovely conversation that we had. Oh gosh, it was. So I'm really happy to be sharing it with you. And it's coming out today, which is Friday, the 23rd of May. And then we have another episode coming out next Friday with Dal. And then we'll have another one. So we're trying to bring something out maybe weekly or every 2 weeks because we've got some that are recorded and edited and ready to go. And we're also continuing our interviews with dynamic, awesome people into the summer. So make sure you keep coming back to the Earthsea Love podcast because we are here. We are here for now. And we are doing our best, as always, to bring you quality, stimulating, inspiring, and heartwarming episodes because it is Earthsea Love is a gift from our hearts to your hearts. So again, thank you for listening and enjoy. Bye for now. Welcome. And I want to say, Nabila, is that
Yes.
I am pronouncing it right? Yeah,
Yes, you are. Yes.
yeah. Okay, that's cool. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Earthsea Love podcast. And welcome to being the first one back for 2025. You are popping the cherry for this year. So to have you here. So good to have you here and to see you. So let's just start off by situating ourselves. It's what I do all the time. People who have been here all these years, we're into our fifth year, everybody might be
Woohoo!
bored with this. I know. I might be a bit bored with this, but I love asking this question. It's like, where are you zooming in from? Where are you calling from? And can you see nature from outside your window, outside your door, from where you are now?
I am zooming in from my one bedroom flat, I guess, because it's this one room is kitchen, workspace, living room, but it's 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 good for what it is. Unfortunately, don't have windows right in front of me,
Mm.
but I do have windows around me. And I really appreciate them. I often sit by them to do some work because I can see some trees. And when I was looking for a place to live, I realized how important it is for me to have nature near me, even if it is one tree outside of the house. And it really helps me because it kind of, I can see the seasons with
Mm.
the lifetime of the tree. I can see the leaves falling. I can see that now there are no leaves on the tree. And I'll see that when spring comes, some new leaves are going to come up. And then uh, I can hear the birds that make their home in the trees as well. So I really love that. And I try to bring a little bit of nature inside. And I think, last time I counted, 19 potted plants in my flat. I want more, but there's only so many children one can have, and because I call my plants my children. Um, but
Yeah.
yes, it's nature. Knowing that nature is just outside has been important to me.
Mm, lovely. I love that. I love being able to have maybe that a fixed point that you can see nature outside your window and see the seasons and how it
Yes.
changes. I love that. Um,
Um,
and it's something like a sit spot. I've been trying to find my sit spot, and I think it
mm,
changes again with my seasons, never mind the seasons of the nature. But
mm.
I totally appreciate that. And you got babies. Congratulations on having
Yeah.
19. I hope you're able to keep your 19 because I struggle with my babies. I don't know what happens. I give them love. Maybe I give them too much love. But I've just
Yeah.
like over this Christmas period, I've lost, I think it was three. And
Oh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my environment. Oh, yeah, it could be
Mm.
at this moment in time because my environment isn't too good at this moment in time. But we're not here to talk about me.
But I want to hear about you. What?
Oh my gosh, it's like leak after leak after leak.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
not me, it's the upstairs neighbors.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Oh.
so trying to sort that
Yeah.
out since November. So
Oh no.
it's a bit of a drain, and I'm not, no pun
Yeah.
intended.
No. No, it's horrible when like you're in an environment that with things that you can't control, because the leak is not something that you caused.
No, 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 no. So that's it. I
Yeah.
think it's that being not being able to control it.
Hmm.
But again, it is helping me to learn how to let go of control.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
hold on too tightly. But again, it's practice. It's a practice. So I'm practicing. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got you situated. Did you say
Yeah.
where you were though? In a city? Where are you in a city?
Oh, yeah. I didn't. So I am in Sheffield. I'm not too far from the city centre here. Near if people know Sheffield, Ecclesall Road or Ecky Road for the
Is
people that
that
know.
a long one?
It's a long one, yeah, where there's loads of restaurants and shops. It's really nice. It's very studenty area,
Yeah.
but
And a bit cosmopolitan as well.
yes, yeah,
So
exactly.
if you could only see us now, listeners, we are moving our heads.
Yes. Yeah, what is it about the cosmopolitans that they move this way? Uh, oh dear.
I mean, I like Sheffield. I like Sheffield. So
Um,
yeah, so we've situated you. Now, again, I don't like asking, what do you do? How do you define yourself? Well, I do want you to define yourself because I
mm,
don't like other people to define other people. It's happened to me, so I don't like to put it onto other people. So let's
yeah.
just say what you be, who you be at this point in time. Yeah? Does that make
Oh,
sense?
it does. I don't know if my answer will make sense though.
It can be whatever you want it to be.
I do often ask myself that question, like, who am I? Like, what am I doing? Who is like who? How do I think I can do what I'm doing, kind of thing? But and I do. It's really interesting, like questions of identity, and
Mm.
I often don't know how to describe myself because, quite frankly, it's a bit messy. But I'm gonna give it a go. So I am Brazilian. I was born in Brazil, moved to the UK when I was a teenager. My family is Italian, and my name is Arabic. So there you go. Um, I'd say it's really interesting because if I'm Brazilian here in the UK, I am a person of color, right? But in Brazil, I am mixed, and there's perhaps a different understanding of identity there. So my dad is black, my mom is white, and there's different cultures coming through that, even if it's just within Brazil itself.
Mm.
But I did a lot of my growing up here in the UK. I've been here most of my life now. So I do consider myself British, even if some people wouldn't,
Mm.
because I'm perhaps, I don't look British. I guess, not white. Um, and yeah, I think yeah, I don't know, what else in terms of who I am. What other identities do I mean, obviously, I'm a cis woman. I mean, I don't know, obviously, because people can't see me, but I present as a cis woman. And I also grew up Christian, so I do think myself as a spiritual person. I have a faith, and I really appreciate that in my life. It's an important thing. I'm someone that also has a number of health issues, physical and mental. So those are things I have to grapple with every day. Uh, yeah, and on top of all that, I made a crazy decision of starting a PhD just over 2 years ago, and that's become a big part of my identity, being a PhD student and doing research.
Mm.
And it's both exciting and overwhelming, but yeah, I guess that's who I am.
Excellent, thank you. And let's I mean, like so many things I want to pick up there.
Yeah.
Um, I was at this event quite recently
Mm.
by some rewilding organization, and I think they got me on the panel through Earthsea Love, but because I think
Nice.
it's a bit color, yeah.
Oh.
And so I went along. It was a paid gig, obs. Anyhow, and they asked me
Yes.
a question about what does like people in general have an aversion to mess and messiness and how they want
Mm.
everything neat and tidy. And you say,
Mm.
oh yeah, it's a mess or it's a messy sort of thing. And and I, my appreciation is growing about mess. I don't really now, I don't see it as a negative, especially
Yeah.
if you take our guide from nature, because nature is messy. Yeah,
Yes.
it's not neat in that sense. And other words to use is that it's complicated. And
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
all right that things are complicated because that
Mm.
is reality. And
Yeah.
I think we fool ourselves or we're trying to, yeah, dupe ourselves and numb ourselves in a sense if we try to make things neat and deny the complexity of everything
Yeah.
because that's a lie.
100%.
It's a
Yeah.
constant. So
No,
you are more than welcome here with all your messiness.
yeah, thank you. I feel at home, and yeah, I appreciate that. I do think it is part of life, and yeah, I think reframing it as complicated, as most people's lives and identities are, is true. And yeah, how complex nature is, and it truly is a reflection, and how amazing it is in that way, the ability of nature just to, move through these cycles and these different things that grow, and you think, how is it growing here? How is it growing? Why does a tree grow wonky in a way or another? And it's
Yeah,
the same about us. Why do we grow a bit wonky?
man. Yeah. And there's obviously method in it. There's
Yes.
some, but like it might be this or it might be that, but might
Yeah.
not be a definitive answer. And I'm okay with
No,
that. I'm okay with that.
exactly.
And also thinking about your PhD in this point, well, let's talk about your PhD because like again, for me, it's a PhD and you're supposed to create something that is original. Yeah.
Mm,
And who's judging who's original? Because like it's usually those gatekeepers that are treating it as original. But at the same time,
exactly.
through the process and through the supervision, they actually want to supervision. They actually want to guide you maybe down already well-worn paths. I
100%.
found if I wanted to bring something new to the mix, it was like, hold on, Cherie, don't even go there, you know?
Yes.
So
Yes.
tell me, what is the PhD about? How are you finding
Mm.
it, man?
I think the short answer of how I'm finding it is both a great source of joy and a big, big headache. So,
Yeah.
um, my PhD is about looking at how generative AI affects trust in the news. So what I'm doing is I'm interviewing what we call industry practitioners, so people that work with AI in a news media organization, and then interviewing young people to gather both of these groups of people, their understandings, perceptions, and opinions about AI. And with those two, I then those two sets of interviews, I then will set up workshops where I'm going to use AI with young people, and then we are going to discuss what do they feel about AI. And when I mean about using AI, it's about using generative AI like ChatGPT or Mid-Journey that makes images, because it's the understanding of how does that content, which in some places people call synthetic content, how does that affect their engagement with the news, and does that make them trust the news more or less, or does it even matter? So
Mhm.
yeah, and uh, I am at the point where I've just finished my first set of interviews with the industry experts, and now I need to start talking to young people. So yeah,
So what school are you in?
I'm in sociology. Um, But my background is I studied politics for my undergrad, and I would call myself an information scientist because most of my life I've worked in libraries and with like information management. And then I studied information science for my master's. Um, but this opportunity came in sociology, and it really like it's interesting to have to learn a new approach, I think, as well. I think that's important. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm hearing here about a multidisciplinary approach here, which
Yeah.
I love. You know, if we're going back to those
Yeah.
labels and categories and definition, it's like
Yeah.
another way of control is like, well, this is this subject and it stays in this subject. But
Yes.
I think, again, that messiness and complication, in order to maybe come to some understanding at this point,
Yeah. Yeah.
we should be using all these tools. No, I'm not using should. I invite us to use all these tools,
Yeah.
because it can only aid the whole process and the understanding. It's
Yeah.
like, I suppose that's why I started using Creatrix because people would say, are you a writer? You're an artist?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm just like, how I want to express myself. So I'll use
Yes.
whatever tools or strategies or techniques are at my disposal, you know, to get that
Uh,
full expression. So I'm
Yeah.
interested here in AI because
Mm.
it's like coming up again and again
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with you, I'm untrustworthy of it. I mean, I don't totally understand it. I don't think it's about consent that's going for me, consent
Mm.
mission that's going on. If I think
Yeah.
about opening up Google now, it's like AI's there. You don't get a
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't invite you in, but you're here already. And it
Yeah.
seems to me as if you're taking over.
Yes.
That's
Hun-
that's from that personal level there. Um, so how is your stance on AI?
It's a great question because as researchers, we are expected to be neutral, right? And to just think, it's both good and bad.
Const
And
a construct.
exactly. But the area that I research would be called critical AI studies. And I take the critical very seriously, okay?
Yeah,
So I don't, to be honest, I don't think it is the best thing to either fear it, like to think, oh my gosh, this is going to take over our jobs, or to say, oh, this is amazing, let's change my life. My approach is curiosity. What is this about?
yeah,
How is this really changing our lives? Why, like, what does it mean for creativity? Like having this machine creating things for us now. And, that's a essential human ability is creativity. And, we could argue that nature is creative, but it's a thing that kind of makes us a bit different from the other species that live in this world. And I think I'm going off on a tangent, but I I do AI for me just tells us a lot about humanity when we think about what this uh, uh, artificial intelligence is. Because I often think it's not really intelligence. We can't really compare what this machines, these systems, these apps do
mm,
to our intelligence. It's a different kind of set. And I understand that we are trying to make sense of this abstract concept through kind of relating to it through our measures of our own, how we process information. But
mm,
I don't know if we could compare. And that's where I stand. And I want to find out more about it. I think AI can be quite good if you think about, how it's good at diagnosing cancer. That could be life changing for so many people. But it could be quite damaging if we think that, students start relying on AI too much to write their essays. What about the skills that come in just writing?
mm,
I love writing, so I find it hard to ask ChatGPT to write something for me because I feel like I'm not very good at so many things in life, but writing is the one thing I can do, and I think there's a lot for me to improve even. But I won't use that muscle in my brain
mm,
unless I keep doing it myself. And I think it's something that we should appreciate more, so then that we can question AI and think, what is this doing for us?
mm.
And yeah, that I think that's my stance on it.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you've got that healthy curiosity there. And that what you, I mean, I was just talking to my personal tutor for permaculture, and it was AI came up there because
Mhm.
they've got a student doing the diploma who's I think she was saying Chinese, and
Mm.
she she put in a project design, and my tutor knew it wasn't her work because of
Mm.
that she was using. And
Yeah.
what she'd done was use AI for the English
Yeah.
because it wasn't her first language, English. But
Mm.
what she had done is that she hadn't credited using AI. And
Yeah.
so it was starting to get into the ethics of it there. That's where
Yes.
with the permaculture thing. But then
Yeah.
what I've just heard today, I was watching the Stephen Colbert show, the Late Show, or whatever,
Mm.
saying that because he's always ripping into the US government and Trump and Elon,
Yeah.
and how Elon Musk is now part of that Doge department, and how
Mm.
he's going to be using AI to work out where they can cut the spending and all that sort of stuff. He
Mm.
says, and Stephen Colbert was saying, so he's using AI, and this is AI which has told us on Google to eat a small rock every day.
Yes.
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
said, but obviously, this is good advice because that's the only way that you're going to beat the scissors that you've already swallowed that AI has told you to swallow.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh, it's like, so you've got it on so many different layers that are going on that is
Yeah.
permeating our lives. And it's
Yeah.
interesting that you're saying about that intelligence and how can we do that
Yeah.
um, comparison. And again, it comes back for me of the past and how it's still
Mm.
with us. That
Mm.
man, and I'm saying man as human beings, are
Yeah.
the superior intelligent species
Mm,
know what's best to do with everyone, every being, every other species,
yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and how we don't seem to have learned that we're in the shit that we're in shit now because of that very,
Yeah.
very belief and attitude and practice and extraction and exploitation. You know what
Yes.
I mean? So yeah.
100%.
So
Yeah.
well, like curiosity. So let's tip onto that curiosity because you're doing this AI, critical AI,
Mm,
for your PhD. And you've got mixness going on in your heritage.
mm,
But and we've got nature in there. But I know we met at
mm.
a zine festival. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What's it called again here?
Over here, Zine Fest.
Yeah. Over here.
One of the best days of my life. It was amazing.
Yeah. So we were there sharing our zines. So
Yeah.
tell me, how did you get into zines? What are zines to you? Oh, yeah, just talk about zines, man.
Oh gosh, how long have you got?
We're rolling. We're rolling. Don't
So actually, that's one of the things I can say that PhD has been a source of joy because one of the things being here, starting this journey, I was getting exposed to different research methods. And one kind of, let's call it category of them is creative methods. And zine making has been used in research as a way of, getting participants to make their own zines and, talk about whatever research topic it is. So it was through a session that really got me thinking that I could make scenes myself. And it was actually, if I actually go back a little bit, the first time I made a zine was actually through a workshop held by I think they're called Dead Women Poets Society here in Sheffield as part of the Sheffield Poetry Festival, and we just made zines cutting up poetry from people like Audre Lorde. It was so powerful. I loved it so much. So, and then thinking it about as a research method, then I put it all that together. I put all of that together, and I thought, why can't I make a zine? So I made a few, and I'm someone that works well towards deadlines. I think like I need a deadline for me to get some piece of work done, and when over here Zinfest put out the call that they were doing, they were accepting applications to hold a stall. I was like, why don't I do that? Life is all about challenges, so let me set a challenge for myself. And I went there completely thinking I'm gonna be like so out of place because everyone there is gonna be amazing. And I just feel like who am I to, this upstart to bring my really silly zines, very personal, to this place. And in fact, I was so welcomed. I felt so like this is my people in a sense. And I met you, which for me was one of the best things that ever happened because I felt like really this is a place to be. And the fact that it was a place for people of color, I felt that was so important as well because that's what over here Zinfest is for uh zinsters and artists of color, I think. So yeah, no, it really, for me, zine making, it's a very personal thing. It's where I talk about things that affect me personally. It's where I decided to share what I call my really bad poetry because I can't call myself a poet, but sometimes I write poetry to kind of deal with my feelings in a sense. So yeah, it's such a release and it's so exciting to share it with people as well. And another place that I created a zine was at a Pics of Color workshop that was held by I mean Dao Kula. She was the what do I call her? She's facilitator, yes. Because I feel like she's amazing. So she's so many things.
Oh, no.
So yeah. Um through that, I started the zine as well on nature, and that for me was really powerful because it really cemented this connection that I felt with nature since moving to Sheffield and being able to go to the peaks and really appreciating how healing it is just to walk around, and go up and down and feel uh, the air. I don't know how to say it, but yes, yeah, I think yeah, that's it. Well, zines for me are a way of sharing my innermost personal feelings with other people, which for me feels very silly to say out loud, but it's the truth. And yeah.
Oh, and I totally feel that. And just a side question there, how
Mm,
how important for you, or
mm,
I don't want to make that judgment, but how important for you is it to, as you say, to go out there to walk in the Peak District, but
mm.
doing it within the organization of Peaks and Color, or and being held by Dal Kula? How
Yeah. For me it was amazing because it's this idea of how it can be inaccessible, our in a sense nature, I think, at least in the UK, is often something that is reserved or has been in the culture, and I'm not saying it's the truth, but structurally, small white middle class kind of access, I'd say. So I really appreciate being able to be there intentionally with people that want to reclaim it. And I think that's what Peaks of Color was for me. And understanding that I too belong here. We all belong here. The land is ours. It doesn't belong to it shouldn't belong to anyone in particular. It's true that in capitalism it does belong to certain people, but let's not get me ranting about capitalism because we'll be here for 3 hours. But yes, it was extremely important, and having that space, it's so powerful, life-changing, and just talking to people, making connections. It truly enables me to see life in a different way and the possibilities that are out there. Because sometimes I think so much of life, the structures that we live in, disable our imagination. And I think that's what something like Peaks of Color enables us, is to have this imagination that we can do things differently, that other ways are possible. And yeah, it's
yeah,
fantastic.
yes, you're singing my tune here. Imagination and other ways of doing things and being and possibilities. And that's what, that's what capitalism and the systems that we're operating in, white supremacy culture,
Yeah.
imperialism, colonialism, it robs us of our imagination. Well, it tries to rob us of our
Yes.
imagination. But how,
Yeah.
as our ancestors with their fugitive spirits and methods,
Yeah.
we are standing on their shoulders now, or right
Mm,
on their backs now, to be able to feed our imaginations alone and in company, and have that connection.
yes.
So I'm totally grateful for that. And you mentioned from the Peaks of Color workshop that you created a zine,
Yes.
a letter to nature from my inner child. Yeah.
Yes. That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And you, when I met you, it was one hard copy, wasn't it?
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
and but where's it now? Where's that? What's it morphed into now?
So I'm managed to put it online, which I think because it's something that I created during the workshop, I would like it to be free. But I'm actually going to bring print copies and then bring it with me to Barnsley Zine Fest, which is happening on the, let me check my calendar 1 second, on the 15th of February. So yeah, so I'm really excited to be there. I can whisper this, but I don't think it's going to be as good as over here because that was one of the best days of my life. But I am sure it'll be very nice and everyone that is be very fun. So yeah.
But it's the Barnsley one open to all zinesters?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So anyone is welcome to come, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
exciting too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I hear what you're saying because I've been to a number of um, do I call them mainstream
Yeah.
theme festivals, like the Edinburgh
Mm,
one, and then there used to be one at Baltic. But
mm,
when you were talking about the over here one, it's like there I hadn't experienced one like that. And it was
mm.
because of that, it was there for people of color, people of the global majority. It was
Yeah.
our space, you know,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that makes a difference. And it was so supportive. That was
Yeah.
I mean, like if we sold anything, great, smashing, lovely, a bonus, but it was just to be amongst it and be
Yes.
it. That that was
Yeah.
that was the payment for me. That was, what I took it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. Are you working any scenes at the moment?
I've started a few, which I haven't been able to finish because life got in the way.
Mm.
Uh, so I have one which I'm writing about AI. So in sense of how the title is AI is not gonna take over, or is AI is not gonna kill us. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I do think it's really about understanding how the danger is not really AI, and it's the people behind AI. So that's what I'm hoping. I don't know if I'll get it done before the Zine Fest. There's a lot happening in between, but definitely it's something that I will put out there in the future. I also am writing one about personal, because I have one which is about living with PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome, very common for 10% of women, in fact. And I want to create others that are living with other health conditions that I have, because then I feel like I think this starts a conversation, and I think we need to talk about these things.
Cool.
Um, and yeah, I think those are the main ones on the pipeline at the moment. But yeah, the other things, I have one about my love for mocha, the coffee drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because, like, if I remember rightly, you had a one about your cat that, but wasn't
Yes.
your cat, but because you could
No, it's my sister's cat.
right
Um,
off the shelf, people were loving it.
yes. Yeah, it was my po most popular zine, and my sister, in fact, was like, "Where are my royalties? It's my cat, you know." But he is the love of my life. Also, I'm very allergic to him. So, so it's a bit of a thing where I love him, but I can't be near him kind of thing. And that's why I need to have the zine so I can look at him and think, oh,
Yeah,
he's amazing.
still
Yeah.
in him. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. So, let's think just a little bit about the future here, because
Mm,
especially, if you're saying um AI is not going to kill us, or AI is not the problem, it's the people that create AI. And when
yeah.
that is the total, the yeah, it is that in a nutshell for me. It's the case.
Mm,
It is those people that are behind AI and how they're using this as another way of
yeah.
of control,
Mm,
domination.
yeah.
So the future, not your future in a sense, but if you want to tell me about your future, but like, what are you hoping for the future, or what are you planning for the future? And not a case of taking away from now, but
Mm,
it's me. I'm a lifelong learner. I love.
yeah.
I've got that curiosity.
Yeah.
But it is, feeding into being something other, different than what is on offer.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, you tell me. I don't want to put anything in your mouth. You
This is such a good question, because sometimes, we are fighting so many fires. It's difficult to see what is the future, or what kind of future do I even want? And I think on a personal level, my future is finish the PhD. That's the main, that's the future. So I can do other amazing things in my life. I think the PhD is just one of the many amazing things I have done or will do in my life. So that's the main future, I think, for me personally. When I think about AI, I want I would like a future where AI is here to help us to live better lives, but doesn't necessarily make it more unequal for people.
Mm.
Because I fear that's what's happening. And, not to go on about capitalism again, but I will. It's really about AI is a product of capitalism. It's being developed by these companies that have profit in mind. And therefore, that's why we hear so much about AI making it more efficient, make it improving productivity and all of that. Because it's about making sure that we as workers continue to work and work more because AI is supposedly helping us when in fact it's not. It's actually creating more work for us because we're not at a point where AI is actually really good in the sense of like it produces a lot of garbage because, and if you even think about the bias as well, the data that goes into AI is very biased because society is biased. So what comes out is biased, and we need to think about that. So a future, I think, for me, is a future where AI enable us to live better lives, and it might be so people can have quicker diagnosis in when they are unwell, which might be the case. I think that's what's happening, but it shouldn't be the case where that treatment from that is needed for whatever reason, like whatever health reason, is taken over by AI, because I think the human element in care should be human, and we shouldn't allow the robots to do that. We need the human touch. So
Mm.
yeah, I suppose I don't know how to do that. I think my PhD maybe will touch on some of it. Who knows? I don't know what's going to come out with the PhD. Um, but yeah, I would like to give people voice through my PhD to
Mm.
then say, what is it that they want from AI? How is AI actually going to make their lives a bit better, And if in my specific case, I'm looking at how AI is used in the news. So it's about people being represented in the news, about how they can access information in a way that is relevant to them and how do they feel that they can be part of a society of the media in general. And that's really hard, but I'm gonna try and hopefully that will help a little bit in the future. And even if it's just about, encountering people and then giving them a chance to think about AI and actually say, actually, no, I do have some agency. I can actually say, this is what I want and not what these companies are telling me. I don't want Google search to have AI on top of it.
Mm.
How do I turn that off? Who do we go to complain about this, So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I I like your version of AI.
Yeah.
It is more human, it's more caring, it's more critical, and it's less fearful. You have given
Mm,
it a more human face there, and that's the future of AI that I'd like to see and be
yeah.
part of. So thank you for that vision. Um, yeah, because I have been uh, stepping back, hands off. I see anything AI and I switch off because,
Mm,
and that can come from a lack of understanding, but it also comes from a lack of engagement because I don't like how it's been showing up already.
mm,
But
mm.
they've shown me that there are other possibilities, and I appreciate that. And like, yeah, like we need the human touch. I like that you
Yeah,
said about in the care, but
yeah,
having that human touch, which is coming um uh, from some place of value that is about, equity and
yes,
compassion, then that's something I can get on board, and that is giving AI that human touch.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There was a very a tweet that went viral, and I regret not remembering the name of I think it was an artist that tweet or how do you say exit? No, they used X or Twitter to write something about AI, which really resonates with me, which is along the lines of I don't want AI to do the creative thinking for me, so then I can go on to do the washing, the dishes, and the cleaning of the house. I want AI to do the cleaning of the house and everything for me, so then I can have time to do the creative thinking.
Yeah, and that's if you think that's how it did start off, having these machines that could clean your house while, making it really giving you back your time.
Yeah.
The dish,
Yes.
the
Yes.
electric mixer, giving you more time. But again,
Yeah.
it is as it's advanced, it's like more, let's think about more production and
Yes.
being more effective so we can get more money for our time in that sense
Yes.
from these people that we just see as machines and robots as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That, I mean, again, it's come back to that imagination. So I'm just thinking about
Mm.
the last question here, and we've talked about your zine. So you must be creative, but what else do you have in your arsenal, your bag for self-care? Looking
Oh,
at yourself, especially, because the journey of the PhD, I think they should be putting it on hazardous, or what?
yes. Definitely. Whenever someone,
Yeah, unless you've got this and you've got this and you've got this, sort of like that supportive network system practices.
yes,
Yeah, to keep me just showing up, man. Just
100%. Um, so it's such a good point. Because yeah, in terms of support networks, I did before starting a PhD, I did talk to a few people and they said it can be quite isolating. So it was a conscious effort as someone who's quite an introvert to try to make friends. And I'm so grateful that I have made friends and they are amazing people. And without them, I don't think I would have been here in a PhD because it really just helps talking to them, not just people doing PhDs, people away from academia. That's really important too, to people to keep you in a real life, basically, away from the bubble. But also, I think for me, I, uh, like I mentioned, I'm someone that has to deal with mental health issues as well, and I've before my life before the PhD, I had therapy. And I was in a good place by the time I was about to start the PhD. So my therapist and I were like, well, yeah, we can say goodbye for now. And, if you need, you can check in. And I started the PhD and I was like, actually, can we go back to regular sessions? Because I really need it. So I personally find therapy quite important and really helpful, and it is a lifeline for me. So yeah, my therapist is someone that's been present in my life and really has really helped me a lot. And other things that I do for self-care is I like the poetry that I mentioned that I write my feelings. I also write short stories that in the end are about working through my feelings. And I think going on hikes in the Peak District, that's self-care for me. I think it's essential. And I get the itch, when I'm like, I haven't been, I need to go. It's so long since I've been there. And it really is very restorative for me. And yeah, I feel one of the main things which I need to be better at is getting good sleep. That is so essential. And I need to really work on that and just, go to bed. That's all I need to do. Um, but yeah, I think yeah, those are the main things. Yeah.
right. Well, okay. So I'm a doctor. All right. Might not be the medical one, but here I am writing that
You are.
prescription. Sleep. Okay. That's
Yes.
sleep. You've got the
Yes.
prescription. Do it. Do it. Yeah.
Thank you. I just need someone to tell me. Can
No,
you every just call me every night? It's time to go to bed now.
oh, I love that, and especially what you were saying about therapy, because at this moment in time, it's still therapy within a capitalist system. And it's
Yeah.
like, let's get you to this point where you're better now and you're good and you can, okay, that's it. But really, therapy should be a through line throughout our
Yeah.
whole lives. It's never,
Yes.
it's never ending. It's that constant thing that we can be keep checking in on ourselves in a witness with somebody else.
Yes.
And it should be free. It should be free. I mean, yes,
100%.
therapists get paid by the government or private firms, but anyone who's accessing it, the client, again, the client, because
Yes.
it changed from being a patient, now it's the client
Yeah.
or the helpee should be able, should, and I'm saying should. I'm not inviting, I'm saying should
I
be able,
think in this case, should is the right one.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
because it's invaluable. And I think if more of us could access it, had
Mm.
had opportunities to be in therapy, a lot of the
Mm.
shit that's happening around the world wouldn't be happening. I think so. But who
Completely agree.
who am I? But so yeah.
You are a doctor. You just said you are a doctor.
Oh,
So.
yeah, yeah, right, yeah. But where's that cachet go when I'm a black woman who's a doctor, and
Yeah.
like people look at me and say Mrs. and I'll go, no, sorry, doctor.
Yes.
Even when I
Yeah.
was married, it was they'd look at him and say Dr. Mac. Dr. Mac. No,
Yeah.
Mr. Matthews, I'm Dr. Mac.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
but yeah. Because that's it, I'm doing counseling training skills at the moment.
Mm. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, yeah, not really. Not in the system that I'm learning in because I'm the only black face in the class. And just Monday, we had to do our personal presentation, PowerPoint, how our personal development skills, our
Mm.
counseling skills, etc., etc. And
Mm.
you do a PowerPoint. Everyone's sitting down in the computers, doing their PowerPoint,
Mm.
and the counselor tutor is at the front doing the PowerPoint for them. And I went, no, 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 I'm going to the front. This is me controlling again. It's like, no, 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 I'll do it. Right. I might not know what I'm doing with the PowerPoint or what your computer's doing, but I'm going to
Yeah.
control. And I just totally changed it up. But I made sure on the first slide it had Dr. Cherie Mack there.
Yeah.
And then the first thing, I'm telling you, I sat down, any feedback for Cherie, any comments, the first thing someone said, I didn't know you were a doctor. What you're a doctor of? Oh, I didn't know that. And like
Oh.
fair enough. Maybe it was surprise. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and it was surprise. And they
Mm.
were
Yeah.
interested. But yeah, yeah.
Oh no.
But
No.
yeah, it's a bit harmful at the moment.
Yeah, but it's awful that I think that it is I can't say, I mean, your experience is yours, and that I can see how harmful it is. I'm just trying to make sense of my thoughts. But I do feel it's so, so important that more people of color become therapists,
Yeah,
because I mean, my therapist is white, and she is amazing and I'm so grateful to her. But it's hard to talk about racism with her because of her positionality. And it's just a fact of life. She has helped me with so many things, but she's not gonna get that, because it's not her experience, and that's fine. But
yeah,
it also means that I have to seek that support elsewhere. And I think is very important that we have more people that look like us
yeah,
helping us.
yeah.
And and that's not just in counseling, although I do think that counseling is particularly not diverse. But you think about academia as well, how there are no people that look like us in their positions of power. And then I'm like, I'm never going to be there because there's no one like me that is allowed to get that. So,
Exactly. Or if you were allowed to get there, you have to chip off parts of your um
yes,
heritage, personality
yes,
to actually try and fit in.
yes, yeah,
So it hurts you less, but really you
exactly.
still don't fit in because
Yeah.
they still see you. not as this academic, but as this black person who's infiltrated the ranks and,
Yes.
you know, and there's
Yes.
so many barriers if we think it just the financial one. It's like I'm
Mm.
not doing any more counseling skills after this because
Mm.
it's like goes into thousands and thousands of pounds. You
Yeah.
know, I've already got qualifications. I can't get any support to go on,
Yes.
so many different barriers.
Yeah.
That's why I appreciate when we can go as far as we can go. I mean, you're doing your PhD, great, smashing, lovely. I'd like you to go on if you want to go on and, become that person in that position of authority. So then you can be a supervisor for other PhD people who look like you, who be like, you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
know?
It is I think it's a burden, a heavy burden to bear to have to do that. But at the same time, if we don't do it, how is change going to happen?
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And I'm of it as like, okay, I complain a lot, but I've got to, you know, not complain and do something about it. And
yeah,
that is the practice.
yeah.
Everyone likes to complain. I like to moan, man. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm hoping that I'm doing something. I'm not just words or hot air, that I'm actually some action and I'm doing
Mm,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's
and I'm not saying that in the case of like, and I'm not saying that to you listeners either, that I want you to be coming in and say, oh my gosh, yeah, Shri, you're doing great, smashing, lovely, yeah, yeah. I don't want that. I'm not
but
looking,
you are though. You are.
no, but I'm not looking for the outside validation. It's like I
Mm,
have to live with myself. I have to check myself. I have to look myself in the,
yeah.
and
Yes.
I've got to be honest with myself. And I think I'm not doing enough. Then okay, get doing,
Yeah.
Shri. Shut up, put up, do something. You know?
No, no, I get it. And I think it's about, it's almost it's a bit about morality. I think like with the little power that I have, my morality is that I have to do something with it. And then that means like being a rep for PGRs as well, like in the university meetings or whatever. I'll do that. That's something within my power. I put it in air quotes, power, but it is. We have a little power, I think. That's the thing we need to recognize.
Well, don't even put that little on. I
That's
just
true.
say we have power. We have
We
power.
do.
We
We
do
do.
have power.
Yeah.
And it's how we use that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Recognizing it
Yeah.
and how we're using it. And we're not just using it for selfish means, we're using it a
Yeah.
case like we're making a trail and we're bringing people with us. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Creating those ladders, and we're pulling people up, or
Yes.
it's like, watch me, come on, watch me, like
Yes.
bottles, Yeah. And then
Absolutely.
and we're sharing it. We're sharing it in these zines. We're sharing it in our writing. We're sharing it.
Yeah.
We're sharing it in this podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that is it really. I feel I really appreciate just watching your work and as in like seeing the amazing things that you do. Because for me, you are an inspiration. You are telling me this is a path you can follow. Follow me, like you just said. And not only we are going to have a different future, but we're going to have fun on the way. And I think that's really important. The joy that in your work really comes through.
Totally, totally. And you're saying that path or that trail, it's like just use that to get on it. Because when
Yeah.
you will find your own trail, you will create your own trail.
Yes.
And that's what we want, as many trails as possible through this landscape of whiteness, discrimination,
Exactly.
racism, sexism, you know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
All the other
Absolutely.
yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Nabila. I'm looking at the time, man. I have taken you over my hour slot. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I like to just, keep it within that time frame. But but at the same time, I don't like to edit us either. So if there's anything that we haven't discussed that you want to share now, this is your moment.
I just want to share how honored and grateful I am that you invited me because, yeah, like I said, I'm a big fan. So I do feel your work is amazing and really thank you really for the opportunity and for just sharing your work with the world. I think we are very lucky that you're just here.
Well, thank you kindly, but the feeling is mutual, because This podcast is all for selfish reasons. I want to these amazing people like yourself and just have a conversation. Just roll the fat a bit, because
Yeah.
things become clearer, things spark, and I just love
Oh,
I just love it because I have the conversation in real time reality now. But then when I
yeah.
do edit it, I get other bits of wisdom through it as well.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you for being a lovely guest on the podcast here. Thank
Oh, thank you.